Today we're going to be learning how to solve a system by using substitution. So below we have two linear equations, y is equal to x plus 3 and y is equal to 2x minus 2. We can clearly see the value for y in both equations, so I can go ahead and substitute the value for y into the other equation. So if y is x plus 3, then that means I can rewrite this second equation as y, or y, which is x plus 3, is going to be equal to 2x minus 2. So if y is equal to this and y is equal to this, then that means these two must also be equal to each other. So now that we've rewritten our system, we can now solve for x by getting our x's on the same side of the equal side. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 2x from both sides. This will give me a negative 1x. I'm going to go ahead and write that 1 because I'll need it later. Plus 3 equals negative 2. From here, I just need to subtract my 3 from both sides, leaving me with negative 1x is equal to negative 5. We can then divide out that negative 1, making my x positive, and a negative divided by negative will also make my 5 positive. So now we found x is equal to 5. So we can now take this 5 and plug it back into either one of these equations. So I'm just gonna go ahead and plug it back into the original equation that we had. So y is equal to, now we know that x is 5, so I can write 5 and plus 3, which means y must be 8. So my solution here is x is 5, y is 8. So in this example, we need to look to see if we can use substitution to solve. Here we see clearly that y is equal to 5x. So we can substitute the value for y into the above equation. So if y is 5x, then I can put that 5x where we see the y in that first problem. So now I can rewrite, we have 2x plus, again, we're going to write the value for y, which is 5x, and it's going to be equal to 6. From here, we just combine our like terms. So negative 2x plus 5x will give me 3x is equal to 6. We then just need to divide by 3 on both sides, and we find that x is equal to 2. We are not done yet. We still need to find the y value. So I can take this 2 and I can put it into either one of these equations. It does not matter. I'm going to go ahead and put it into the second one and see what happens. So we know x is 2, so I'm going to rewrite 5 times instead of the x. We're going to put that 2 is equal to y. So 5 times 2 is 10, which means my y is going to be 10. So the solution to this system will be x is 2, y is 10. So 210. This example is a little trickier because we don't have a clear value for x or y. So we need to go ahead and solve for either our x or y value if we want to use substitution in this case. One thing I notice when I'm looking at both of these equations is that they both have 3y. So if I can solve for 3y, then I can substitute that value into either or of the equations. So let's rewrite this first equation solving for 3y. So if I wanted to solve for 3y, I would need to get rid of this 3x. I need to move it to the other side of the equal sign. So I'm going to rewrite this. 3y will be on the left. And again, we're going to move this negative 3x to the right side. Whenever you move something from one side to the other on the equal sign, its sign will change. So this is going to be 3y is equal to, again, I'm just moving that 3x to the right, so now it's going to be positive, and that 12 was always positive, so it'll stay positive as well. So now that we've solved this equation for 3y, we can now substitute the value for 3y into the second equation. So if 3y is equal to 3x plus 12, we can take that 3x plus 12 and put it where the 3y is in that second equation. So now let's rewrite 2x plus, again, we're substituting the value for 3y in, so we're going to write 3x plus 12 instead of the 3y, and it's going to equal 16. From here, we combine our like terms, so negative 2 plus 3 is going to give me 1x plus 12 is equal to 16. We then just need to subtract the 12 from both sides. And that will leave me with x is equal to 4. So now we've solved for x. We just need to substitute this value back into either one of these equations so we can solve for y. Let's substitute it into the second equation here and see what happens. So if x is 4, then that means I can put a 4 wherever we see that x. So let's rewrite. We have 2 times 4 plus 3y is equal to 16. We multiply and we get negative 8 plus 3y is equal to 16. We're going to add the 8 to both sides, leaving us with 3y is equal to 24. Divide by 3 on both sides, and we're left with y is equal to 8. So the solution to this system is going to be x is 4, y is 8. In this last example, again, this one's tricky because it doesn't give us the value for x or y right off the bat. So we're going to need to solve for x or y within either of these equations. Since y is already singular here, I think it'll be easiest to solve for y here. So to solve for y, I need to move this 4x to the right side of the equal sign. And since I'm moving it to the other side of the equal sign, it's going to change its sign. So it's positive 4 now, but when I move it, it'll be a negative 4. So I have a negative y is equal to negative 4x, and that minus 13 is just staying where it's at. So again, all we did was move the 4x to the right side, and when we moved it to the right side, it became negative. From here, we have a negative sign next to our y, which we don't want. So I'm going to divide out that negative sign. Remember, there's always an invisible 1 here. So I'm going to divide by negative 1. That way we get rid of the negative. And then if I do it to one side, I always have to do it to the other. So we're going to divide every single term by negative 1. So now our y is positive. Negative 4 divided by negative 1 is also going to give us a positive 4x. And this negative 13 divided by negative 1 is also going to make it positive. So now we have solved this equation for y. And now that we know the value of y, we can take this and put it back into this first equation. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my little line. This is going all the way up here into that first equation there. So let's rewrite. We've got 3x plus 2 times y. And again, we're putting in the value for y where the y was. So in parentheses, I'm going to write 4x plus 13, close parentheses, equals 4. From here, we need to use distributive property. So we're going to distribute my 2 times everything inside. So now we have 3x plus 8. And then the 2 times 13 will give me 26 is equal to 4. We can combine our like terms. So 3x plus 8x will give me 11x plus 26 is equal to 4. We can subtract the 26 from both sides. This is now gone, so we have 11x is equal to 24. Subtract 26, which is going to give me a negative 22. Divide both sides by 11, and we find that x is going to be equal to negative 2. From here, we just need to find what y is. So I can go ahead and put this negative 2 back into either one of these problems, or even this one here, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to rewrite y is equal to 4 times x, but instead of the x, we know x is negative 2 plus 13. So y is going to be negative 8 plus 13, so y is equal to 5. The solution to this system is going to be negative 2, 5. And that's it.